we have to be very, very systematic in the way of thinking about this problem, the Kurdish problem in Syria, Jarablus things. There's no doubt the Kurds suffered from Assad regime for the last 30 years, from 1963 till today. And we should not forget that they were not only the people who were suffered from Assad regime, and all the Syrian people were suffered from Assad regime, but they were more than others. When the revolution started 2011, we should not forget that in Jarablus and in other Kamishli, other Kurdish area, the people, the Kurds, they were with the Syrian revolution. They were Syrian. Their ID was Syrian. We cannot forget the Alawite. They went to the street with the revolution. They were Syrian, or they are Syrian. And the same for the people of Sweden. So I'm talking about the minorities in Syria. So the first couple of weeks of the revolution, even more than at least 6 to 8 weeks of the revolution, we were not thinking about the minorities issues or ethnic groups, all the flyers, all the slogans. It was Syria. We are Syrian people, we are one blood, one hand, and everybody was against Bashar and against the regime in general. So now what we are seeing is completely different pictures, and I can attribute it to the system the regime used in order to divide the people. So part of them were the Kurds. I will focus mainly on the Kurds because of this event. The Kurds, the revolutionary guys from Syria, they try to approach the Kurds from the early days and try to find some compromise or some common ground with them, taking into consideration that we are all Syrian. Nobody think about dividing Syria or ethnic groups or anything. It was red line, and I think till today is red line, because we should not forget again that Syria for the last, since independence till today, it was highly affected by Arabism, which is we are all Arabs, of unity of Arabism. So it's become very difficult to anyone to accept divisions of Syria or ethnic minorities privileged than others. So when the starting point, when the Kurds starting to communicate with the Syrian or the Arabs on that way, the Kurds for a while, they were very much positive. Then they start to raise the demands. We need our flags, we need our language, we need our culture, we need then to reach to see our territory. And then they say, we have our map for our own territory. The other side, the Arabs at the same time, we were still in the revolution. We are still in the revolution at that time. We were under attack from Assad every day. No one was in position to say to the Kurds, yes, we can accommodate you. Nobody had legitimacy to tell the Kurds we can't do it. The message we try, me, myself, and others, to tell to the Kurds, the more you will join the Syrian in their fight against Assad, the more you will get, because people will recognize you. So later on, 5, 6 years, whatever, whenever we have constitution, we have rights, you will get everything you want. And they refuse. At the same time, Assad he talked with the Kurdish National Council. He asked them to work with him against the Arab Revolution. They refused, and he told them, Assad, to Al-Hayed Nashar, if I'm not wrong, he told them that if you will not work with us, we will find some people else who work with us. And then they brought Saleh Muslim. And the first step to empower that movement of national Kurdish ID, they left them their Milan oil field in Hasaka, and they gave it to the Kurds. So now the Kurds, they have the feeling of the ID, that they can get their own ID. They have the money, and the regime did never attack them, so they have stability. Whereas all the other neighbors, they were facing the opposite. No food, attacking, and they are more busy in Assad things rather than in Kurdish issues. Nobody thought about the Kurdish as a problem for us. So I'll try to answer some of my colleagues' perceptions, because it's a little bit different from the reality. So day by day, when ISIS becomes superpower in that area, they take all over the areas, nobody fight them. The Arabs, they tried their best, the Syrian Arabs, they tried their best to tell the Americans, we can fight ISIS. And the Americans say, you know what, you are Sunni. We cannot trust Sunnis. And that's why the train and equip program, we have major problem about why the American, they train only 50 or 20 people, whereas they were sending the weapons by parachute for the Kurds without even vetting them. So there was big problem between the major Arab and with the Americans. We think, until today we think, that the Arab Sunnis are the only people who can defeat ISIS. So when Jarablus operation started to work, many Syrian free armies, they came to join it. I think the number started by 1,800. Today it's something like 3,500. The number will go to 6,000 to 7,000 Syrian. And most of these people, they were trained, or in a way they get vetted by the United States, but never used by the United States. The Turks, they say, this is our enemy, it's ISIS. This is our enemy, is the Kurds. The Kurds, unfortunately, for the last 1 year, they benefit very much from the American dream to fight ISIS through them. They did ethnic cleanings. It's Amnesty reports, it's clear, so I'm not claiming anything. They did all the bad things to make the Arab feel hate against them. In Raqqa, in Hasaka, sorry, in the Tal Abyad, so many areas, they just kick the Arab. They burn their houses. Sometimes they say, you are welcome to come back, but you don't have any houses anymore. So all this created that feelings, we hate them, or they are with Assad. I'm sure they are not with Assad. But when you are under attack, daily attack, you cannot differentiate with your enemy. You just, everybody is one basket. So when the war on Jarablus started, I think it has been welcomed by more Arabs, very much all the Arab battalions. Many people joined them voluntarily. Some people, they were asked to join. As I said, the number is increasing and will be increased. The Arab finally, as my colleague said, that they feel they are recognized as fighters on the ground against what the American policy toward them just put them on hold. And they did the job. There's a big myth that PYD is the strong part on the ground. They are the troops on the ground, or they can make success. It's big myth. We don't forget Kobani. It has been attacked by the American forces or the coalition forces at least God knows how many weeks before the PYD come into the Kobani. And Kobani is a small village with something like 40,000. It takes them at least a couple of weeks to be liberated. You take that model to Jarablus, which is big city, bigger than Kobani, it's 3 days. Number one. Number two, whenever Tal Abyad fight was where PYD, they went to liberate Tal Abyad, ISIS makes so many bombs, car bombs in Hasaka and in Kamishli. And when I asked the guys there from BYD guys, how you allow 20 cars to go into your areas? They say simply we don't have fighters. All the fighters are in the other side of the country, in Tal Abyad. So there's big myth of numbers, big myth of power support. I think it's more about how much they get Air Force support, how much people really count on them. This is what we're missing as an Arab, as a Syrian or Syrian, from day one, from revolution to today. We never get real support. We never get real endorsement. We always have talking support, but we never get serious thing. Today, when Turkey did something, everybody sympathy with Turkey because they are hosting millions of Syrians, and they didn't change their position on Assad or their position on the Syrian revolution from day one till today. So all this create more comfortable relation with Jarablus issue. Turkey, even though they changed some villages or their military announcement, when they mentioned the Arab villages of Syria, they put it in Turkmani, and the Syrians say, Habibi, this is not Turkmani, this is Syrian. So either to be Kurdi or Turkmani, and we say, no, this is Syrian. To make sure this is Syrian. In Jarablus, I think they did good model that the American failed to do, even when they spent more than $2 billion in Syria. The local councils, the electricity, the water, the humanitarian, they try, I think they learn all the experience and they are implemented in Syria very quickly. I believe they will go to Bab. People are ready to go to Bab. I will not be surprised if they will go to Raqqa as well, or they will be part of Raqqa. PYD, definitely they don't have any interest to go to Raqqa, but still they will be used by the Americans from the northern part of Raqqa, not from the south part of Raqqa. PYD, unfortunately, we always tell our friends, the Kurds, that you are historically being used by international power and then they throw you under the bus. And we always tell you guys, please listen from you have your small entity or empire or state in Iran, 1940s, then Saddam Hussein gave you something, then the Turks give you something, then you always being failed by the international communities. Syria is a very good model for you to be Syrian, and within Syria you can get what you want. And they always say, no, time is different. And what makes things worse for them, I feel sorry and pity for them, actually, when the Russian were the first country, superpower, or regional power, super regional power, when they say to the Kurds that you will have federation. And nobody was ever talk about federation. They have it in their mind, they always talk it. But even the American, they never promised them that you have such anything. The Russian told them that you will have federation, and when we talk with the Americans, what you think, they say, well, there's competition between us and the Russian. So if we fail to give them something, or we try to put pressure on the Kurds to get something, the Russia will come and give them more. And it's a free talks. So you give your state, you give your weapons, you give something. Till today, I think they are failing. Militarily, maybe they are gaining some lands. The population of the Kurds, as my colleague said, all their area are Arabs, mainly are Arabs, Afrin is Arabs. In their areas is Arabs. There are more Arabs in their area than the Kurds, because all the people who ran away from their Zor, Raqqa, south of Hasaka, Hama suburbs, all they went to Kurdish area because it was de facto no-fly zone. Assad never attacked it, the Russian, American, it was really no-fly zone till today. So I don't know what the numbers of Kurds, they believe that they are 1 million, the estimate is 500,000, but definitely there's more than 1 million Arabs in that area. So it doesn't work with them in all means. As I'm working as a consultant with HNC. With HNC, the position is very clear that Saleh Muslim is terrorist, PYD are terrorists. The Kurds are, again, they being hijacked by this international community as a tools, but they are Syrian. And we try to help them as much as we can. And the same thing goes to the Alawite, same thing goes to other minorities who are Syrian number one, regardless of their religion or ethnicity, and they being hijacked and used by the regime just to promote himself in the world. Thank you.